Hello, good evening. Welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live from Anusabata, Desawe, Kanda, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. Also, share your thoughts with us at 3FM 927. Read out to you and to the rest of the world. This evening, President Mahama dissolves National Cathedral Secretariat with immediate effect. Meanwhile, the President has directed the Attorney General to take steps to terminate contract on the stalled National Cathedral project. Stay with us. We've got details for you from the presidency shortly. The just ended press conference of the presidency. Stay tuned in. Also, the new Patriotic Party begins reorganization process towards 2028 elections as it holds its National Delegates Conference this weekend. Stay with us. We've got details for you. Also, this evening, the Parliamentary Select Committee on Defense and Interior meets security couples over Ablekuma North violence exactly a week ago. Stay with us. We've got details in the world of business and sports over the next 1 hour here on Hot Edition. Let's settle for a summary of the news now. And Yanam Haliga is here.
Well, in today's summaries, a proposed amendment to alter the new Patriotic Party's consultation to expand the base of delegates for the election of its presidential candidates will be one of the critical issues on table as more than 5,500 delegates of the party converge in Accra tomorrow for the National Delegates Conference. Now, the World Bank has called on the Ministry of Finance to fast-track parliamentary ratification of the $125 million additional funding package for the West African Food System Resilience Program. Now, the Multilateral Development Bank said they would pave way for the commencement of the rehabilitation work on the V irrigation scheme in the Upper East region, which is expected to utilize 80% of the funding. The Nairi of Mamprogu, Na Bahugu Wahami Abdullahi Shigriga has offered to make some concessions in the Boko conflict mediation necessary to bring lasting peace to the area. Now, finally, some tragic event in the hits Achimwenchi in the Denshebwa district in the eastern region last Saturday, that's Wednesday, beg your pardon, when over 20 illegal miners were trapped to death in a pit which they were digging for gold. Only 4 bodies of the deceased have been retrieved by the time of the filing of this report. An eyewitness who wants to remain anonymous told a team that illegal miners blocked the Brim River to prevent it from flowing into the pit and which they were carrying out some illegal activities.
Thank you. Let's just stay a bit more into the matters here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. This evening, President John Dramani Mahama has dissolved the National Cathedral Secretariat with immediate effect and has ordered the Attorney General, Dominic Ayine, to take steps to terminate the contract on the stalled National Cathedral project. The Attorney General is also to take legal steps to dissolve the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral. This move follows damning revelations contained in the audit report on the project conducted by international auditing firm Deloitte. Now, the report, amongst others, revealed discrepancies in the contract and payments to the contractors. Minister for Government Communications, Phyllis Kwachofosu, at a news conference said, contrary to claims that the audit made no adverse findings, the findings are rather troubling. This is what he said just some few minutes ago from the presidency earlier today.
President John Dramani Mahama has directed that the following steps be taken. 1. The National Cathedral Secretariat, which used to operate from here at the presidency, stands dissolved as of 1st May 2025. Now, the National Cathedral Ghana was registered limited by guarantee. In view of that, the Attorney General has been directed to take legal steps to ensure the dissolution of the Board of Trustees. And we expect that to be done in the coming days. Now, 3, the president has ordered that in the interest of transparency and accountability, the Deloitte and Touche audit reports will be published immediately after this briefing. So we will share copies with you, media men present, and we'll also put it out on various portals and social media handles so that the public can access it and review the contents for themselves and see whether the claims that some individuals have been exonerated is borne out by the contents of the report. Now, despite the damning findings contained in the Deloitte audit report, it does not cover the full scope of operations of the National Cathedral Secretariat and the project itself. The Auditor General has therefore been requested to commission a forensic audit into the National Cathedral project and the activities of the Secretariat. Now, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice has also been asked to take lawful steps to ensure the termination of the contract to prevent further costs and losses to the state. As I indicated, because of how lopsided the contract is, even as the contractor has ceased work at the site from March 2023 to date, he still continues to accrue payments. And we find that this will impose significant costs on the state, and therefore President Mahama has ordered the Attorney General to take legal steps to terminate this lopsided contract so that we save on costs that will accrue to the state. Now, after the forensic report, after the forensic audit, decisive action will be taken regarding any impropriety determined and the future of the project itself. I must indicate that the National Cathedral project is one of the many cases being investigated under the oral initiative. And once the forensic audit findings become available, they will add onto the body of evidence that will be looked into. And based on the determination that is made in terms of any act of impropriety, persons responsible will be held accountable.
As Phyllis Kwachofor said, that this was not the only matter that came up today. From what we're hearing, based on the findings, the president has issued the following consequential directives. And then also we're getting details that the adverse findings point to rather matters that the Attorney General has also been directed to take interest in.
That available evidence indicates that, contrary to the widely held view that total payments and commitments to the National Cathedral project amounts to $58 million so far, there is actually an additional outstanding payment of $39 million due the contractor. Now, when added up, this brings the total costs incurred so far for the whole that sits at the site of the project to $97 million. Also, due to the lopsided nature of the contract, additional costs continue to accrue daily, despite the cessation of work on the project since March 2023. Now, I want to take you through some of the findings contained in the audit report, because there are those who have claimed that this audit report in question exonerates some persons. Now, let me touch on discrepancies in consultancy fees paid to Sir David Ajayi and Associates Limited. The audit report reveals that there were troubling discrepancies in consultancy fees paid to Sir David Ajayi and Associates Limited for the mobilization and design of the National Cathedral of Ghana. Now, while the Office of the President confirms a total payment of 113,040,564 cedis only, the firm, that is Sir David Ajayi and Associates Limited, reports having received 117,972,656 Ghana cedis, which gives a variance of 4.9 million Ghana cedis, which as of now remains unexplained. Payment records show that 87,938,750 cedis was paid by the Ministry of Finance between 26 September 2018 and 25 November 2019. Subsequently, the Office of the President made two payments. One, which was 29,664,845.29 Ghana cedis on 19 February 2021, and another 369,060 Ghana cedis on 5th March 2021, bringing the presidency's total contribution to 30,033,906 Ghana cedis. Combined, these payments amount to 117,972,656 Ghana cedis received by the firm. Variations in contract amounts with Rebadi JV. The formal executed agreement with Rebadi JV puts the contract sum at $261,965,660 million US, which is exclusive of taxes and levies. However, the Office of the President confirms a higher figure of $286,465,660 US, which gives a difference of $24.5 million from the officially signed agreement. Additionally, the progress status report as of August 2024 quotes a contract sum of $268,500,000 US, while interim payment certificates or IPCs submitted for payment estimates the final contract value at $283,230,489 US. These inconsistent figures, spanning from the legally binding agreement to the reported progress and payment claims, point to a lack of coherence and clarity in the contract administration and project cost control. Now, differences in payments and outstanding amounts owed to the Nehemiah Group.
And that's Phyllis Kwachofo, so they're detailing quite clearly what this audit report presented to the presidency by the audit firm Deloitte captures in there. And he indicated earlier, if you've been listening to us, that this audit report, the full details of it will be published before end of day today, and also for us all to see. In fact, the members of the general public have also been given that opportunity to see the full details of it. My colleague Komla Klochios, a presidential affairs correspondent, also, we understand the journalists who were present at that press conference a few minutes ago will be the first to have the full copy of the audit report, so we'll get a lot more into it. But Martin Pebo is private legal practitioner. He is a member of the Operation Recover All Loot preparatory team, the oral preparatory team that has wrapped up its work, submitted their report to the presidency, and then being acted upon by the Attorney General as we speak. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Ocansey.
It's great to have you, as always. Now, this National Cathedral project was one that was captured by your oral preparatory team report, correct?
Yes. Ghanaians were very livid. Lots of Ghanaians were livid about the cathedral project. They warned the Kufuor that he had misplaced priorities. His personal promise to God to build a cathedral should not be transformed into a national priority, etc. But Kufuor and Oforiatta will have none of it. And so Ghanaians taught them the lesson in the elections. And then after, naturally, you can expect that Ghanaians would want to have justice in the court of law, both criminal and civil. So people presented a report. There were multiple different complaints about the National Cathedral. Multiple complaints. So it's good that the president has gone ahead with this current statement. Maybe I shouldn't run ahead of myself.
Well, indeed, because you talk about the multiple complaints about the National Cathedral, did that also bother on, for instance, the inconsistent figures that we're hearing now per the details of this audit report that has been put out today by Phyllis Kwachofosu?
I do not really recall.
Right.
It means I would have to check and this is. But the complaints were about the colossal sum of money. I know, don't spend such a colossal sum of money on, a cathedral. I mean, what has it got to do with people who are unemployed, people who couldn't find 3 square meals a day? I mean, and also in the general context of Akufo-Addo renting private jets, bathing in the skies with Sewa Bruni, etc. So that was the context. Yes, unemployment, right? High cost of living, and we really are in a cost of living crisis, right? And so with that kind of spending, it looked very, very insensitive that we're dug a pit for $58 million, etc. That was what people were complaining about.
Right. But hearing this detail today, how does it strike you that this audit report uncovered financial irregularity involving consultancy fees paid to Sir David Ajayi and Associate in connection with the design and mobilization works for this controversial National Cathedral project? According to what we just heard, the audit report presented by the Minister of State in charge of Government Communication, Phyllis Kwachofosu, there exists an unexplained variance of 4.93 million Ghana cedis between official records and the firm's reported receipts, while the Office of the President is maintaining that a total of 113,040,564 Ghana cedis was disbursed. Sir David Ajayi reports having received 117,972,656 Ghana cedis. Council.
I'm not that surprised. I'm not, because, we've always suspected that the contracts, etc., were riddled with corruption. Okay? Yes. So it's not surprising. And as I thought it would be worse than what we are reading. Yes. Okay? Yes. So we thought it would be worse than what we are seeing now. All right? So I'm not surprised at all. Some of the figures, look, to put this in context, let me tell you, even the Burj Khalifa, if you look at the cost of the drawings, etc., when you check online, the highest account is about $5 million. The Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, because at some point you read that it's 1.5 million, then later some other people brought in some other calculations and said, no, it's about 5 million. Listeners can double check. You won't see the cost of the Burj Khalifa going as high as ours. So for me, those days when we're complaining about the payments to Ajayi, etc., they said David Ajayi, hasn't he been stripped of the title, sir? The case he had in the UK with the 3 women who complained. Well,
there's no record. We'll check it. As to whether, yes.
So just call him David Ajayi. Let's go. Right, because of his case, yes. I think he must have been stripped, right? So as soon as arguments came out that the architect who designed the Burj Khalifa didn't, take as much as David Ajayi, then I knew that, but because the context is that we are a developing country, we don't have as much money as the people in Dubai, okay, yes, etc. So how can our building cost more than the architect who designed the Burj Khalifa? Okay? So that is the thing. That puts it in the context. And generally, another thing that fuels the corruption is that, some of the president's relations who were close to David Ajayi, it all just gave a feeling and a surrounding, a toxic combination of corruption. So I'm not surprised. I even expect it to be worse.
I see. Now, yes, beyond the details as has been given today, What do you expect, especially because one, you have established the point that yes, it was a project that was captured by your oral team. And so what do you expect in the coming days regarding these discrepancies in the financial reporting, and then also the entire project site, that $58 million site, which has not been put to the use for which it was expected?
Okay, so further investigations, yes, that's a natural thing to do, so that when we say further investigation, so that requires the Attorney General and the police. The Attorney General will direct the police to call in the suspects, etc., to come. Then they will go through the processes. Their statements will be taken, and then the Attorney General will do further investigations if need be, so that ultimately the case will go to court. If they want to refund the money to, I welcome that. The refund, you see, the ORA is about recovery as well. Operation Recover or Loot. So, and Dr. Ayini knows it even more than I do. Was a lecturer, so he knows the principles well. That Ghanaians are yearning to recover the loot. So, if these people want to return the money with some interest, we should take that ahead of criminal prosecution.
Council, I do appreciate your thoughts on this as always. Thank you so much for joining us. He's a member of the Operation Recover All Loot Preparatory Team, Martin Pebble there, and a man who has also been consistent about this particular issue is a co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, Edem Senano. Senano is joining us on the telephone as well. Good evening. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you.
Now, hearing the government communications minister now talk about the irregularities, the financial irregularities, involved in this controversial project, especially the consultancy fee paid to David Ajayi and Associates in connection with the design and mobilization works for this controversial National Cathedral project. How does it strike you, this difference of over 49 million Ghana cedis that has not been accounted for as we speak?
Well, it's extremely disappointing. For a project of this nature, my expectation would be that in thinking through the persons on the board, and especially at the operational level, whichever form of secretariat they had in place, you would ensure that the relevant competencies to do with project management, administrative processes, procurement were in place. And that on the board, you have persons also with similar skill sets who could provide oversight and ensure that these basic principles of administration and management are not flouted, especially because if you're talking about issues of faith, then it has to deal with integrity. And so it's extremely disappointing to find ourselves in a situation where simple accountability was not guaranteed, and you have some years where there's no documentation, figures are not adding up. Those are simple things. Indeed, I think that in my mind, there was the opportunity to refit and address this. Once you had Bishop Dr. Edward Mills and people resigning, that's the point at which somebody should have done a quick and dirty analysis of do we have the competencies, do we have the systems in place? We shouldn't have waited till we even got to do an external audit to arrive at this conclusion. So it's extremely disappointing, to say the least.
I see. But then already we're dealing with how much has been spent on this project, over $58 million. That's at the project site. But the cost of, for instance, relocating and then also compensating the people and companies whose buildings and the Malian ambassadors' residence, the former secretariat of the scholarship secretariat was there as well. We also had the passport office there as well. All of those has not been captured or included in the cost of the entire project. What do you want to see going forward in terms of a detailed breakdown of the expenditure that has gone into this botched National Cathedral project as we speak?
Evidently, if you've had the Deloitte and Touche report, which I gather does not cover all facets of this project. And now the government is asking for a forensic audit. Hopefully that would be thorough enough to give us a sense of all the costs involved. I think much more important for me is we seem to have this repetitive cycle where the lack of adequate stakeholder engagement leads to a situation where, in retrospect, we find that very important basic things were not done. And then we make losses that are so gargantuan, you're wondering, how could we have found ourselves in this situation? I think that moving forward, a key aspect of all such policies and intervention is a thorough stakeholder engagement. I mean, do the stakeholder analysis, identify everybody who should be there, including the professionals who provide expertise. So to the extent that even the board didn't have the expertise, but was consulting appropriately, had the right kinds of persons advising, this should not have happened. So I think that is also a lesson in terms of managing such interventions for the future, and we should not have to relearn this at such great cost.
I do thank you so much for joining us. Zano.
Thank you.
Adam Sananu is the co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. Also live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. The New Patriotic Party is gearing up for its crucial National Delegates Conference scheduled for tomorrow. That's July 19 at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. The conference, themed Rebuilding Together with Our Values, is expected to address major constitutional reforms, including proposals to abolish the current electoral college system and transition towards a one-member, one-vote model by 2028. With over 5,500 delegates expected to attend, the gathering will serve as the party's supreme decision-making body, deliberating on amendments aimed at enhancing internal democracy, grassroots inclusion, and party unity following the NPP's 2024 electoral defeat. In all, about 50 proposed amendments on the cards for consideration, with the major ones being the expansion of the Electoral College and the proposal for early Congress to elect a flag bearer for the 2028 elections. We're going to run you through some of the details contained in the proposal as we have it now, and you're going to see that on the screen on Facebook at 3FM 927, also on YouTube. And these are the proposals: the abolition of the delegate system, of choosing officers and candidates for all card-bearing members in good standing. That's a proposal by Boache Jaku, one-time flag-bearer hopeful of the parties, indicated that, quote, we need to have an expanded participatory nominating process based on the experiences in recent elections. He says the party must come to the understanding and believe that the voters, when giving the choice, will ultimately make better choices than any outside group, individual, and then also other persons in terms of the set of operations or activists. Kwabena J. Japong, who is a former general secretary of the party, one-time flag-bearer hopeful as well, he's also been making proposals that the presidential primary should be organized first with an expanded electoral college. Special college used to trim aspirants to 5 should be abolished. He also makes the point that to reduce tension associated with the numerous elections the party conducts at various levels ahead of the presidential candidate election, it is proposed that the presidential primaries be held first after the expansion of the electoral college. So that's his position on this matter. That's been really contentious going into tomorrow, the decision and the proposal to have the election of the flag bearer on the 31st of January. Well, Peter McMahon as well, was a former chair of the party. He says that abolishing delegate system of choosing officers and candidates for all card-bearing members in good standing is one that also he has expressed his view on, together with Gary, Evans Nimakon as well, who is the director of elections for the NPP. Now, they've indicated that the special college pair, the composition of the delegates makes it not representative enough and delays the conduct of the presidential primaries, cause inefficiencies also to the party, and has not served the purpose of minimizing contestation. So that's one of the matters as well that the party would be dealing with going into tomorrow. And also there's been the proposal by the National Council of Elders that all the National Council of Elders members shall vote in all national elections. So this consists past presidents, vice presidents, and past national chairmen will be inducted into the National Council of Elders. And then also they make the proposal that the National Council of Elders must not support or be seen to favor any candidate. And mandatory quarterly meetings should be held with the presidential candidate, the flag bearer, or the president if they win power. Also, a number of proposals that have come through from the presidency for that matter. That is the flag bearer. If eventually becomes president, they are proposing that there should be mandatory quarterly meetings with the president. That is if the MPP wins, and when they are in power, there should be that National Council of Elders quarterly mandatory meeting. We'll see how that plays out as well. So these are the issues that is going to be topical for the conversation ahead of tomorrow, and it's one that we're keeping our eyes on here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. One other issue as well that has been of major concern has been the reaction of the former president John Agyekum Kufuor to the effect that he felt sidelined. Take a listen to him.
So Ghana political party, political history. I can't say UGCC, but if 47 69 was there time nearly power for Ghana. 2 years, 3 months, was there time. Me 69, my 30 years, be a member of Parliament, be a founding member of Progress Party.
That's the former President John Agyekum Kufuor there. And this particular statement got some reactions and responses as well from members within the party. Nana Komia, who was instrumental in the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia campaign ahead of election 2024, yesterday on a crowd-based radio station, Joy FM, indicated that he does not think it is possible that President Kufuor would not be invited to meetings of said organs. The former President Kufuor is a member of all the party's national decision-making bodies, with the primary organ being the steering committee of the party. He also indicates that per the engagements as he is aware of, the decisions are subsequently reviewed by higher committees. The former president has designated 2 people in his office to receive all official invitations on his behalf. So he does not think that the complaint that he has heard President Kufuor make has to do with his invitations to the meetings of the party. This Professor Samuel Edujemfi is also a political scientist and a lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He had this to say after all of this and the developments involving the former president John Agyekum Kufuor.
Have been producing presidents for us in many respects. They have been governing this country in the Fourth Republic, alternating power between themselves. If we are not careful to think about the MPP in its current form and to say that they need to do what is right, make appropriate consultations and support themselves to ensure that the party is able to produce its kind of leaders who will be cut and fit for purpose in terms of delivering the public good for this country, will end up seeing a moribund party that will not be able to give us viable alternatives. Today, we are talking about former President Kufuor. At least we know the comment he's passed is out there. It draws our attention to history, his own institutional memory and knowledge, and the fact that he is not, excuse my language, he's not in a vegetative state. He is strong, he's active, his knowledge, his mind is alert, and he is available to be consulted. It's not as if he's shown a certain, if you like, cause to suggest that he is not interested in the party or he's not interested in offering his ideas to support the party. It is the fact that there are some political hijackers, insiders within the party, who have chosen to neglect or repudiate knowledge, repudiate institutional memory, repudiate the party's customs, traditions, to repudiate the party's democratic culture and its, if you like, strategies it has deployed historically to consult the elders. The accounts will say, the actions of the current executives suggest that they are not interested in falling or relying on the council of key experts within the party, the most experienced ones like former President Kufuor, and more so to rely on the broad-based and the masses notion of mobilizing the people. Now what we see is a top-down approach. It's exactly the reason why I believe that chief actors like the former President Kufuor, who has history, who has experience, and who has knowledge, is being repudiated. Such repudiation in itself is to suggest that those who founded the party, who committed themselves to the cause of the party, and have spent time in prison or in jail, and have won political power for the party before, and contributed immensely to the development of the MPP and Ghana, whose track records are in themselves enviable and reputable to support the cause of the party. Today, if no other person, like a political juggernaut like the former President Kufuor, is complaining, then it re-echoes my position that the current actors of the party severally are not interested in the progress of the party, but are rather interested in satisfying a certain skewed, narrow parochial interest and agenda.
Well, that's Professor Samuel Edujemfi, is a political historian, a senior political science lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Let's stay a bit further on this. Dr. Samuel Afriyie is a political economist joining us right now. I thank you, Dr. Afriyie. Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good evening, Alfred.
Now, taking into consideration the number of proposals on the table for tomorrow, we understand 50 of them. Some key persons within the party, some of whom have contested the flag bearership of the party, are making the proposal that that delegate system, that just a few people will gather, and to elect a flag bearer, in their view, should be abolished. Every member of the party who is in good standing should have a vote in terms of determining who would lead the party as the flag bearer. Is it one that is going to augur well for the party, from what you said?
Yes, Alfred. Greetings to your listeners. The strategy of when we look at the NDC, initially you realize that NDC was not into that direction, but looking at the previous elections in terms of electing their presidential candidate, you realize that they expanded their roots, that is their background, that is going to the lower level. And this has helped the party for a lot of people to be in a participatory mood. If you compare with the MPP is being seen as few people that will come in to elect their parliamentary candidate at the same time presidential candidate. And this kind of system where few delegates are being used to elect these people has not been helpful to their party. It has rather made the party to be seen as for a few. So when it comes to the masses in terms of the political, that is their party, then some members see that if they feel elected, these people, where we use a lot of monetary and other things to induce them for selfish interest of some individuals, then when it comes to the time for political campaign, you realize that they will sit back. And this has been there for a while. And this has been reducing the vote of the MPP since, I think, about 2 or 3 terms of electing these parliamentary. And, it has been a major problem at their parliamentary candidates, because some MPs or some, in quote, some parliamentary candidates try to pick people that will vote for them so that they will retain their seat or even come in so they monopolize the system. And when it comes to the normal circles, in terms of even electing the presidential, you realize that it also have the same kind of system. And then it's hard time they have to change. And I think that for their political space, for them to reorganize themselves and also to reposition themselves, I think expanding their delegate system will be more beneficial than any other thing that will make the party to be seen as credible.
But then again, also there's this bit about, this chicken and egg situation as to whether this should be done after the proposal to elect the flag bearer of the party on the 31st of January 2026 or before. The likes of Kwame Japan believe that this should be done before. I mean, the reform to expand the electoral college should be done before the election of the flag bearer, with that proposal of the date of January 31. There are others who also believe that, let this stay, elect the flag bearer, and then, this reform can take effect after that. What's your take on this?
Alfred, I think when reforms, when these changes are made, immediately it has to be implemented. And I think that is what will give a new face for the party. Because you don't expect that the changes, let's assume that tomorrow they will make the change, or they will agree to that kind of having more delegates to being part of their elections in terms of internal elections. And you say that we should wait for presidential elections, that is 31st January. No. The moment the change is made for the interest of the party, they have to start implementing it so that they will elect the parliamentary, the presidential, and also use to elect other executives. You don't expect that you use the old system to elect a presidential candidate and then you use the new system to elect other executives. This will be unfair for internal elections. So once the change is made tomorrow, then the party executives need to implement it immediately so that it can be used for the presidential elections in January 31st. I think that would be best for the party. If not, it will skew the kind of interest and also the parochial interest of individuals. Accusation will continue, and if we are not careful, it will even deepen the kind of internal wranglings and also division within the party. So once change is made, immediately they have to implement. If not, I'm using this caveat, if they don't use it, then any change that they have to make, they have to hold on till they implement everything. You don't be selective in making changes when it didn't fit for your own interest or others' interest.
And I do thank you for your thoughts, as always. Thank you so much, Doc.
My pleasure, Alfred.
Dr. Samuel Efriye is a political economist joining us on this matter with his thoughts. Well, the Director of Communications of the MPP, Sir Richard Ahiagba, has also been talking ahead of tomorrow,
which would include the national or the annual National Delegate Conference, the National Congress, National Council, National Executive Committee, and the National Steering Committee of our party. The annual National Delegate Conference is the supreme governing body of our party. That's the apex of the decision-making body of our party. And according to Article 10(6), the National Annual Delegate Conference shall deliberate and make resolutions on matters such as deliberations on the National Chairman's statement to conference, the report of the General Secretary to conference, the statements of account of the National Treasurer of the party, and any other matter. And in this conference, a very important assignment is before us, which includes very significant exercise to reform our constitution or to amend our constitution. And if you recall, there are, I think, one major amendment outstanding from 2019, I should say, in Kumasi, where we're supposed to have amended the constitution, but that did not happen, and council or conference actually referred it to National Council to deliberate on and submit a proposal. That proposal was submitted to a committee that was created following the submission of the Professor Aaron Michael Quay Committee's report on the election, the 2024 election. That report, which is a package of amendments from the 2029 Annual National Delegate Conference, and proposals resulting from the report of the Michael Quay Committee and other amendments submitted by the party members are part of the bundle of amendments that this conference will consider. So this conference, given the background I've given you, matters flowing from the election 2024, the outstanding amendment from 2019, and the fresh amendments that have been brought are designed to reshape our party, are designed, which amendments, if conference accepts, are designed to re-engineer the path of our party towards rebuilding for a stronger and a more resilient party in the future.
As Richard Young, but he is the Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party. Now, the police have started reviewing viral footage on the chaos that characterized the Ablekuma North election rerun. Other safety measures have also been instituted to restore calm in Boko as the Asantehene-led mediation continues. These were the revelations by the leadership of the Parliament's Joint Committees on Defence and Interior, Security and Intelligence after they held a closed-door meeting with the IGP, Defence and Interior Ministers. Let's take a listen to James Agalga, who is the chair of the Defence and Interior Committee of Parliament, who addressed the press earlier today.
State security is taken to restore security and safety along the Waliwali Tamale Highway and the Boko Bazwa Highway. Additionally, they responded to the incidents that erupted, the violent incidents that erupted in the course of the conduct of the elections at Ablekuma North. We were particularly interested in knowing what steps are being taken to ensure that those who engaged in acts of violence at Ablekuma North are apprehended and dealt with in accordance with law. The ministers and the IGP gave us the assurance that with respect to the Ablekuma elections, they are reviewing some videos which went viral. And in due course, the perpetrators would be arrested and dealt with in accordance with law. Again, the officer who allegedly assaulted one of your colleagues has been interdicted and is being dealt with.
This is Reverend Tim Fojo, a member of the committee, speaking to the journalists as well.
Disagreement. We have also had discussions with the ministers and the IGP on Ablekuma North rerun violence. All of us have agreed that we have many elections ahead of us. We don't intend to abandon our democracy anytime. And therefore, we don't want situations where ballot boxes will be put at polling stations in the future, and the citizenry will be afraid to go out to vote because of violence, and to have a trend where the political party that has the most violent people becomes the winner in presidential or parliamentary elections. Democracy is all we have. So fundamentally, the excesses arising out of Ablekumanot elections have been discussed in detail, and specific actions have also been recommended.
The reason, obviously, for this joint committee is because all these matters have a relation between our security. Our national security is important, and of course, one can appreciate the impact of the spillover from Boku on our national security, especially given what's happening along the northern border of Ghana and in the sub-region. And indeed, just as the chair has mentioned, we have been reassured of measures that are being put in place to contain the situation and to restore law and order, alongside the peace pathway that is being set up with Otumfuo to restore some kind of law and order, as well as peace, a long-lasting peace in the area.
Also live here on Hot Edition, Bismarck Ebusa is standing by with the latest in the world of business after this quick break.
Hello, Ghana. It's a new year and Bill's Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ebusa. Coming up tonight, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama warns against artificial controls on the cedi, urging allowing market forces to determine exchange rate as misalignment persists. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, has cautioned against rigid interventions in the foreign exchange market, stressing the need for the cedi to adjust naturally as conditions evolve. Speaking on the persistent issue of exchange rate misalignment, Dr. Isiama said Ghana must allow the local currency to move freely once it begins to correct, warning that any artificial attempt to hold it down will only worsen inflation and delay macroeconomic stability. He also underscored the importance of monitoring the real effective exchange rate, a key indicator of whether the cedi is overhauled or overvalued or undervalued in managing the country's external competitiveness.
What we have is a managed float system, and that system is appropriate for our kind of, economy. Now, as it moves, as it continues to move flexibly, it's actually protecting the country. It's responding to a number of, variables in the country. And by being flexible in itself, it helps to protect the country against shocks. Now, in so doing, there's one thing we look at. What we look at is called the real effective exchange rate. The real effective exchange rate is a combination of both inflation and the nominal exchange rate. So while the nominal exchange rate is moving, we are looking at what's happening to inflation. And therefore, there's something we call exchange rate misalignment. So long as, in real terms, it is not misaligned, you'll notice that we allow the nominal exchange rate to continue to move. But as soon as we notice a persistent realignment, that means something needs to be done, and that's where we intervene.
And that was Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama. The Ghana Statistical Service is embarking on a crucial national initiative, the second phase of the Integrated Business Establishment Survey, IBES-2. This extensive data collection exercise, involving over 2,000 trained officers surveying more than 40,000 businesses across all 16 regions, is set to provide vital insights for Ghana's economic planning and policy development. There is more in the following 3 Business News Desk report.
IBES-2 aims to capture comprehensive data on how businesses operate, create jobs, invest in capital, and the challenges they face. It covers both formal and informal enterprises across a wide range of economic activities, with the collected information directly feeding into key national indicators such as GDP and the Producer Price Index. Government statistician Dr. Al-Hassan Idrisu emphasizes the survey's strategic role in shaping evidence-based decision-making, particularly as Ghana pursues ambitions like a 24-hour economy and expanded local manufacturing. The GSS is urging all selected businesses to participate fully, assuring them that their responses are protected by law and will directly inform policies that impact energy access, infrastructure, tax design, and more, leading to a more productive and inclusive economy.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report, bringing us to the end of the Business News on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ausa. Bill Eshen is here for sports. Please stay.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Bill Eshen. Now, the Black Queens head coach, Kim Las-Bjorkegren, has lauded Algeria as the most disciplined team at the ongoing Women's Africa Cup of Nations, yet urges his team to stay fearless in their upcoming quarterfinal showdown. Now, Ghana will face off against the North Africans on July 19th at 4 p.m, vying for a spot in the semi-finals for the first time since 2016.
The team is very organized, maybe potentially the best organized team in this tournament. So it shows that the coach is doing a good job there, and it's going to be a difficult game for us for sure. We need to do our things. We need to keep building. We are pretty new as a team. We have many young players. I've only been in the team for 5 months, so we can see that we're doing better and better, more or less for each game. But in the end of the day, we need to take this opportunity, like Josephine said, that we need to not be scared out there, instead see it in the opposite way, that we actually have a great chance to go to the next round. So just be there, do our best, and I'm sure that we have a good chance to go to the next step.
That was head coach of the Black Queens, Kim Las-Bjorkegren. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Ghana will face Algeria 4 p.m. on Saturday. And so we'll see the fate of the Black Queens in that game. Now, the mayor of Kumasi, Honorable Richard Ofoyi Ebuedi-Ajiman, has reiterated his unwavering support for Kumasi Asante Kotoko, describing the club as a symbol of pride for the people of Kumasi and a cherished institution of the Asante Kingdom. Touching on the issue of facility maintenance and management, Honorable Ajiman expressed his concern over the negative impact of politicization. Now, he stressed the need for local government bodies to take charge.
Asante Kotoko will continue to receive support from my office. I reaffirm my unwavering commitment to its growth, not only as a collective heritage, but also in restoring its prominence both locally and internationally, while rekindling public interest in our domestic league. On the issue of AstroTurf maintenance and management, I acknowledge the challenges posed by the politicization. It is my firm position that Assembly should be responsible for managing these facilities to ensure sustainability. In this connection, I wish to assure the House that necessary steps will be taken to ensure that the management of all AstroTurfs revert back to the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly. I am committed to youth development and to any activity that helps steer them away from negative social vices. Therefore, I applaud the Youth and Sports Subcommittee for the planned youth sports clinic during the long vacation.
And that's it for the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. And we bring an end to yet another episode of the 3FM Hot Edition. This is the Friday edition, of course. We'll see you same time next week on Monday. Until then, have a really